In this go-for-a-punch world in which we live, where we spend our days with SpongeBob SquarePants and our nights strolling London after midnight, you may think you've heard of everything we've yet to find. But there is more unknown in this world than you could possibly imagine. This is lesser-known lost media.
Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is I, your host, Mr. Sean, here with yet another episode of Lesser Known Lost Media. This is certainly the fan favorite of the channel. I definitely wish my other series got as many views as these videos did. But hey, on this channel you will not see lost media like Big Bug Man, the original Food Fight, or any of the more popular, often talked about on YouTube pieces of lost media mentioned. Instead, we dive into the lost media that you just don't hear about all that often and probably might not even know about. Because hey, while everybody is already searching for the things that get talked about all the time, with seemingly no headway made on a lot of them, so why don't we talk about some of the ones that we haven't really heard that much about, because the chances are somebody might know where they are. Instead of just spinning our wheels in the mud on these more popular things, let's talk about some of the other things and maybe we'll find something. Again, I'm not very good at the whole trying to find lost media research type stuff, but I am here to get the word out. As always, the way this works is that I will start with 4 pieces of more or less safe for work lost media, and then we'll take a brief ad break, and then we will talk about a not safe for work piece of lost media. Also, I wanted to give a quick shout out to one of my subscribers who left me this very nice compliment on one of my previous lost media videos. This comment comes from subscriber Abyssal Undine 2803.
This video earned my subscription, like I've been going through your lost media series, having fun learning about lost stuff I hadn't heard of before, but I'm cautious about who I follow online because I don't want to be heartbroken when I think someone's fun but then learn they don't think that I should exist as a trans person. So hearing you talk about trans history, and LGBT history in general, being something worthy of being archived and recovered just made me go, oh. I'll be safe here. And just slam the follow button.
Thank you, Abyssal Undine, for your kind words. I do hope that I gendered you correctly. I was simply going off of your username. And with that being said, let's get into today's video. Up first, we have Amusing Dream, which is a lost build of a cancelled Super Famicom role-playing game from 1992. Mugen Bokuki Amujingu Dormu Dream Adventure Chronicles Amusing Dream is a cancelled JRPG game for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, known as the Super Famicom in Japan, that was developed by Takara. The game's character design was done by mangaka Koga Yoon, and the script was written by Ikeda Misa and music composed by Kuzu Chinatsu. I'll be honest, I have no idea who those are. All that we know about this game comes from 3 pieces of media found in magazines. The first being an advertisement in 1992, and then one in 1993, both in Japan, and then one in an article about the game from a French video game magazine. So concerning the first 2 advertisements in Japan, the first one reads as such.
An unknown landscape shrouded in a thin mist. On a small hill, far away, stands a tower-like figure. Though it is the first time the protagonist sees this place, it makes him feel a strange nostalgia. A girl appears and whispers to him, "Follow me, I am the guide of this world." I think I can help you. From those few words, his adventure begins.
So this first advertisement from 1992, which stated that the game would have a fall release of that year, features drawings of what is supposedly the protagonist, as well as the girl mentioned in the text, but otherwise there's really nothing about the game. Then we don't hear anything about it until the 1993 advertisement. Again, it was supposed to come out in fall of 1992, but here we have another advertisement after the release date was expected, and it has slightly different information.
I wanted to experience the adventure stories in the video games with my own body. By chance, this dream became a reality. My adventure began with a girl in a strange landscape.
So this one, again, now we're in 1993. This one states that the game will have a 1993 release in July, And apparently one of these Japanese characters is indicative that the speaker is masculine, likely a younger boy, so that it kind of just confirms that the main character featured in the image was male. But both adverts unfortunately do not provide any other details as to the characters or even their names. And honestly, that is all most of us would know about this up until 2010, when user Monokuma on Unseen64.net posted about the game, sharing a digital scan of Superpower, which was a French gaming magazine published and circulated from 1991 to 1994 under different names, and they had a preview of the game with this blurb.
Amusing Dream is a truly Japanese RPG, with truly Japanese characters and truly Japanese graphic design. But is all of this Japanese, you may wonder? Absolutely, and consequently, we are very doubtful whether Japan-exclusive Amusing Dream will ever be distributed in Europe. This is approximately what Takara told us when we came blundering in. This dream may be amusing, but it will not become a reality, at least not in our country.
So this magazine provides some more information. It implies that the writer was in direct contact with someone from Takara who was making the game, and additionally it casts doubt on the idea that there will be any European localizations made, though it does not discount the idea of an American release. And it even provides an English name for the game called Amusing Dream. The other thing this features that neither of the adverts had is an actual screen cap from the game. It looks like it's a scene. I don't know if this would have been more or less one of the cutscenes of the game, though it does seem to be in the middle of a dialogue where it is the main character is shown saying, "I see. I wonder if that puppy is okay." And this is honestly the only screenshot we have of this game. And while it is not confirmed, the green-haired character in this screenshot is thought to be the one also shown in both of the advertisements. Now, there aren't currently any details as to how deep the game was in development when it was cancelled. It can be safely assumed, though, that the game was thoroughly fleshed out, multiple advertisements have been discovered, and the French version includes a picture of the game alongside its review. However, there are no known demos or releases of the game, and due to the discrepancies between the release dates of the two Japanese adverts, it can safely be assumed that the production of the game required the release date to be pushed back. And in all honesty, it can be safely assumed that these delays ultimately caused the game to be cancelled. But who knows, somebody who used to work at Takara might have a beta build of this game in their garage or something. Honestly, it looks kind of cool. I like the art style, and I do love some of these old school JRPGs. I'll be honest, I haven't finished many of them. They are pretty long, I tend to get bored, but they are fun. At number 2, we have the original unreleased screenplay of Cool World, a Ralph Bakshi live-action animated film, and this would have been circa 1990 to 1992. So, you might know Cool World as the example of how not to make an animated live-action hybrid. Where Roger Rabbit was a smashing success, Cool World failed miserably. But it was directed by Ralph Bakshi, which you might know him from like the Rankin Bass films he did, as well as things like Fritz the Cat. But Cool World is an early animated and live-action hybrid movie that tells the story of Jack Deebs, a cartoonist who escapes from prison and accidentally enters Cool World, a comic book he created during his sentence. Prior to Deebs' entrance, another man named Frank had entered Cool World in 1945 due to an invention that caused a bridge between Cool World and the real world. Frank became a detective whose job it is to keep doodles, which is what they call cartoons, in line with the Cool World law, especially keeping the Cool World's top coquette, Holly Wood, from crossing into the third dimension. So Ralph Bakshi pitched this idea to Paramount Studios. His version featured a protagonist named Debbie Dallas, which is likely a play on the classic porno movie Debbie Does Dallas. But Debbie Dallas was a young woman who was conceived by a doodle and annoyed, which is what they call human. Debbie, who had been born a half-animated and half-flesh hybrid, considers herself a freak and searches to murder her own father that caused her deformity and abandoned her. After he pitched this to Paramount, he said that they signed on and bought the idea in like 10 seconds. He wanted this to be kind of a hybrid animated live-action horror movie. However, as legend goes, during production, producer Frank Mancuso Jr., who is most well known for his Friday the 13th franchise, had Bakshi's screenplay rewritten in secret. It is said he wanted to distance himself from the horror genre. After this rewrite, Bakshi and Mancuso's differences got the better of them. Supposedly this led to a physical fight, however Bakshi himself claims this never happened and that he bears no ill will towards Mancuso. But due to the creative differences interfering with the actual production and filming of the film, what ended up coming out was ultimately a box office failure. Known as Bakshi's worst film, its only good factors being its art and the fact that Brad Pitt was in it. So what's left of this original screenplay? Well, currently it's unknown if the screenplay even survives at all. What we do have are 28 panels of the storyboard drawn by Luis Zigarelli, which were based directly off the original screenplay and the characters' original designs. Along with these 28 panels, which were originally a much larger set, we have the comic props drawn by Spain Rodriguez, an artist for Underground Comics. The props themselves were only covers placed on top of stock books. Only 2 pages actually drawn by Rodriguez are shown. These can be seen in the comic book store near the beginning of the film after Deebs is released from prison. These props were to portray the physical comic books that Deebs had drawn and were most likely done before the screenplay rewrite. Holly in these drawings looks much more similar to herself in Zigarelli's storyboard compared to the film, with a more tough and slight punk quirk instead of her final Marilyn Monroe-esque appearance. So, this might still exist somewhere, who knows? Would it have been a better film? Maybe, but ultimately I think I'll stick with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Our next entry was requested by a viewer in the comments section of a previous video and includes the lost paintings of the Greek artist Zeus, which is circa 5th century BC. While we still have many examples today of Greek art in the form of sculptures and statues, there were many painters in the Greek era as well. One of the most famous Greek painters was Zeus. I don't know if I'm saying that right. He was born in the 5th century BC and is known to have flourished from the years 501 to 400 BC. Historical records state that his paintings introduced quite a few art genres such as still life or the concept of the ideal form of the nude, and supposedly looked very realistic. One of the things from a lot of old paintings is they do not look very realistic. We didn't start getting the real skill in the paintings until maybe about the Renaissance era, and this was quite a bit of time before that. It is said he achieved this way using shading to make a simple way of using chiaroscuro, a painting technique used for light and shadow in 3D objects, instead of just painting inside the outlines. This technique made his paintings look realistic in comparison to others. He is also said to have had a special way of choosing women models to paint. If he could not find the perfect qualities for a model in one woman, he would use the features of multiple models to create an image of ideal beauty. One of the interesting things about Zeus is that it's not that he was given this mythical level of skill that nobody could ever hope to compete with, which would then also make his actual existence less credible. There's a story about a contest he had with another painter named Parrhasius. As it goes, at an unknown time, Zeus was known to have had a painting contest with another well-known Greek artist, Parrhasius. Both men at the time had reached the highest of their artistic abilities, but no one could decide who was the best, and the contest was started to settle the argument. The men were tasked to create large murals they painted in private behind a wall, with an audience/judges waiting for them to show what they could do. Soon Zeus and Parrhasius finished, and Zeus revealed his painting first. It was a painting of a bowl of fruit, an early example of still life, and used his technique of realism. It is said that it was so realistic that a bird flew into the painting and, in an attempt to steal a painted grape, smacked into the mural. Judges thought that Zeus should win at this point, until Parrhasius revealed his painting. Zeus asked Parrhasius to reveal his painting behind the curtain, but he refused as he said it was impossible to do so. Zeus thought that Parrhasius was refusing because he did not finish his painting and was accepting defeat. But as it turned out, the curtain was Parrhasius's painting. It took a while for the audience to get that Parrhasius's illusion was better than Zeus's. The prize went to Parrhasius, and Zeus stated, "I have deceived the birds, but Parrhasius has deceived Zeus." And despite the famous art techniques he used and introduced and realisms of the paintings he created, none of them are known to survive today. The reasons for this are unknown, but they are likely common factors such as fires or the sheer age of the paintings. If these common factors are what contributed to their loss, the paintings will likely never see the light of day. At number 4, we have Archie Comics Super Mario, partially found production material from cancelled comic book miniseries based on the video game, circa 2009. I don't need to tell you that Super Mario is basically Nintendo's flagship franchise and the most important one they have, so it's no surprise that Archie Comics would be interested in turning it into a comic book. Archie had similar success with a Sonic the Hedgehog series, and sometime in 2009, they pitched a 4-issue comic miniseries to Nintendo, which would have grown into a complete series if successful. It was to be written by Ian Flynn, with concept art by Tracy Yardley and Ben Bates. The story would have been an adaptation of the original Super Mario Bros. Game and featured narrative-driven adaptation of the games with stories bridging the canon, similar to Flynn's approach when writing Archie's other video game adaptations. According to Flynn, it was well received at Nintendo of America, but failed to impress Nintendo of Japan. So they tried pitching a Metroid and Kirby comic book, but those also failed to impress. And around 2012, some of the concept art was posted onto comicartfans.com and was confirmed by Flynn that the art and pitch were real. In 2019, he gave a plot synopsis on Twitter, and he basically stated that Mario and Luigi are summoned to Princess Peach's on a plumbing job, and this happens right when the Bowser invades the Mushroom Kingdom, so they stock up on power-ups and go to save the princess. They fight their way through worlds 1 through 8. Luigi kind of gives up out of cowardice once they get to Bowser's castle, but Mario perseveres, goes through, defeats Bowser, knocks him into the lava moat, shares kind of a love at first sight moment with Peach, and while they go back to the Mushroom Kingdom, the stinger ending is Bowser crawling out of the magma moat. He would also say that it's not how he'd approach a Mario project today. Too much drama, not enough whimsy. And while the plot of the miniseries is known, it's unclear if Flynn ever penned a proper script. In addition to the pieces posted on comicartfans.com, Ben Bates also posted 3 pieces of concept art he created for the pitch to his now deleted DeviantArt fan page in 2016. It is unknown if more concept art exists. So basically, we just have another one here of Nintendo being very protective of their property, and honestly, I don't blame them. Nintendo has been burned in the past when they've tried to bring their properties in forms other than video games to a Western audience. We've even talked about some of them on this channel, so, is what it is. Alright guys, before we get into the final piece of Not Safe for Work Lost Media, just hear me out for a quick second. I want to thank all of you for helping make this series as popular as it has become. I have 2 asks of you. One is, let's see if we can get this video can get 100 likes. We're definitely getting the views on these videos, but I think at this point the highest amount of likes any of my videos have right now is like 62. So let's see if this video, which I know this series is the favorite on this channel, if it can get 100 or more likes. Please help me with that. If this video gets 100 likes within the first 7 days of it being out, I will do a miniature giveaway. If we can get this video within the first 7 days 300 or more likes, I will do 2 miniature giveaways. The other thing I want to ask is that you go check out my eBay. Just today, at the time of recording this, I discounted over 50 miniatures on my eBay page to now have a starting bid of only $5. So you can add some of my custom-made miniatures, one of a kind, to your collection for only $5 plus shipping. As always, links will be in the description. Please help my business grow and get yourself a miniature at a very, very low cost. So yeah, let's get this video some likeage and maybe go check out some minis. And with that being said, let's get to the final piece of Lost Media. Thank you so much for being here. For our final piece of Lost Media, we have Act Age, partially lost production material of a canceled weekly Shonen Jump manga and other projects, circa 2018 to 2020. Act Age was a series published by Weekly Shonen Jump from January 2018 to August of 2020 and was written by Tatsuya Matsuki and illustrated by Shiro Usazaki. The series is set in modern-day Tokyo and follows Kai Yonagi, a girl who is so talented at method acting, she starts to lose the ability to tell reality from the character she becomes. This psychological thriller became hugely successful, selling over 3 million copies over the course of 12 volumes. The series was published by Viz Media in America starting in December of 2018. It was also critically acclaimed, being nominated for Best Manga at the 43rd Annual Kodansha Manga Awards. So you might be asking yourself, what about this one makes it the not safe for work entry? Well, it was cancelled in August of 2020 because the author, Tatsuya Matsuki, was arrested for inappropriately touching 2 female middle school students. Due to this crime, the series was immediately cancelled in the middle of a story arc, leaving all work on the future of the series on the cutting room floor. In a later interview, it was confirmed that Shiro Usazaki was given the opportunity to continue Act Age and find a new writing partner, but she ultimately decided to cancel the series as she felt it would be hurtful to the victims of the crime to see a work created by their assailant still being published. So any chapters already finished or in the drafting stages are either in the corporate headquarters in the archives, or with Usazaki or Matsuki, or they could have been thrown out completely, leaving all unreleased material lost. After Matsuki was arrested, Viz Media deleted all chapters from their website, although they have been re-uploaded and can still be found on various sites. Any plan to release the chapters in volume format were cancelled in both English and in Japanese, and the English release of the series ended at volume 3, leaving 102 chapters to go unreleased in that format. In Japan, 16 chapters were never released in this format. Because this series is not officially in print anymore, this series both in English and Japanese are at risk of being completely lost. A light novel version and a live stage play version of Act Age were also planned and in development, though how far they both were in development is unconfirmed. And so honestly, apparently this was a pretty good story, but was, being created by a terrible human being, and as such, I don't know. It all comes down to the idea of, can you separate an artist from their art? Or if they are bad, should we also not partake of what they create? This has been a very seriously talked about topic quite a bit, especially since the Me Too movement that gained traction in around 2020, maybe 2019, I don't remember the exact year. And honestly, I don't know if there is a definitive answer. Personally, knowing the background of one of the people who created this, even if it was still available, I would not have any desire to read it, but I know that that is not always the opinion that everyone will have. Great example, before it came out that he was a complete piece of crap, I was a big Kevin Spacey fan. I loved the movie Beyond the Sea, and specifically how he sang the various Bobby Darin songs, and since finding out what a piece of garbage he is for what he did, very similar to, for reasons similar to the same thing this mangaka writer got canceled for, I can't listen to my Beyond the Sea soundtrack anymore. It's just knowing who is singing and what he did ruined it for me. So personally, I'm fine with letting this one be lost forever, but I'm sure there are people who would disagree with me. And that's okay too. Again, I don't think there is one right answer or any definitive answer in the argument of, can we separate an artist from their art? It's a pretty deep question. And that's our video today, guys. Again, I want to thank you so much for being here. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Keep commenting your suggestions for other pieces of lesser-known lost media. I'm going to try and put at least one viewer-recommended piece in all videos going forward, so be sure to keep those coming. Of course, again, let's see if we can get this video all the way up to 300 likes in the first week. If we accomplish that, I will do 2 additional miniature giveaways, but if we only get it to 100 likes in the first week, I'll still do a miniature giveaway. Be sure to head over to my eBay and check out all the discounted minis starting at $5 starting bid, and try and add some cool minis to your own collections. As always, this is Chimera Miniatures. I'm Mr. Sean, and I sincerely hope that you alpha great day and an even beta tomorrow. Bye-bye!